Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Aaron Ebersole. Don't really know how else to start this other than the fact that I'm going to sit here and ramble about food plotting today. So I guess to start everything off, last year was my first year food plotting. So it was all new to me, which is super cool. I spent months and months and months reading into everything, doing some research, watching YouTube videos. There's just so much information out there for people to learn nowadays that it honestly made it, in my opinion, somewhat easy. The work was hard, but the information and the knowledge was kind of already there for you, so I kind of did what I could, the best I could, and learned as much as I could, as quick as I could. So I don't really know where to start because I didn't do what I'm doing now, camera-wise, recording everything, documenting everything to share. I kind of focused on the task at hand, which was getting something to grow, and in my opinion it grew great and everything went very well. And I just wanted to share it with you guys, so I guess without further ado, the best place to really start is to jump all the way back to like March, April 2025. And just to be known, it's May 8th today, 2026, so yeah, let's jump all the way back to, I believe it was around March, April of 2025. Like I said, it was April, not March, 2025 when I started, when I did the first step of my food plot process. When I first started, I was pretty much dealing with a whole acre of field pennycress that was 3 to 4 feet tall. It was last year's field pennycress, the dried stalks of them. It was thick as could be. We also had around 15-ish red cedars that were just naturally growing out there, and my first step was to transplant those red cedars. I personally kind of felt bad either digging them up and throwing them to the side and killing them, or just killing them. So Jill and I, we went out there and we transplanted them. We planted them on the north and south side of the food plot. Like I said, about 15 of them. And I think as of right now, I'd say like 75% of the red cedars that I planted are still kicking right now today. Like I said, that was April 12th. The very next day, I faced the field pennycress. On April 13th, I tackled it, and the way I tackled it was with just your everyday residential riding lawnmower. We have a Husqvarna 42-incher, if I'm not mistaken, and I just set the deck as high as I could, and I went really slow, and I just chopped it all down. So after I mowed it all down, I pretty much waited around a month, just short of a month. On May 8th, I sprayed for the first time. That was a mixture of glyphosate and 2,4-D, Gly at 53 ounces and 2,4-D at 26 ounces, and that was for 0.8 acres. And like I said, it was my very first time planting, spraying, disking, all of it. It was my first time doing it all, so I had to buy a sprayer. And I just so happened to buy the North Star 20-gallon pull-behind sprayer, and I think it did phenomenal. That's something that if you guys are interested, just leave a comment, I guess, let me know if you'd want a whole review on the North Star sprayer, because I definitely would do it. I personally think it deserves it. It was perfect for what I needed it to do, and it killed everything. So I think it was great. So about a month after that, on June 8th, it was pretty much planting time. I was planning on doing a no-till buckwheat, which was the fad, and probably, I guess you can still say is a fad. And I was also disking and planting the Northwoods Whitetails HD screen. The no-till buckwheat, I will just say, I didn't have success with it. It was an epic failure. I believe that was 50 pounds of buckwheat, the whole acre, so I overseeded it quite a bit. The food plot size by itself is like 0.6, 0.65 acres, and I have 0.25 acres of screening. So 50 pounds of buckwheat for the 0.6 food plot, and then I did 3 pounds of the HD screen from Northwoods for my 0.25 acres of screening. I disked, I seeded, I dragged, I sprayed. I sprayed simazine at 8 ounces, and I only ran 15 gallons of water, didn't fill up the North Star completely. And we also got a very good soaking rain that night of June 8th, so everything worked out, in my opinion, very, very well. And just to let it be known, I'm sure you've probably already seen it at this point, but I've been using my great-grandfather's 1953 Ford Jubilee that is now in the possession of my grandfather, his son. And yeah, I think that's just super cool that it's been passed down and it's still running and still working, and that I'm now the fourth generation to run that tractor. So it's super cool that I can look out this window right here and it's sitting there, and that I'm able to run it and use it for the food plot process. So June 13th, so 5 days after planting, we had germination of the screen. Again, it was my first time. Seeding rates, had no clue. How to plant it, no clue. Like I said, I had no idea what I was doing, only watching videos, reading forums, blah, 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 blah. 5 days after planting, I'm seeing germination. I thought, that's great, that's phenomenal. I was a little worried that my seeding rate might have been a little too low, which at the end of the day, I don't think it necessarily was. Everything worked out pretty great. The buckwheat, the no-till buckwheat, was a fail, as I said. There was nothing really going on. Whatever buckwheat made it into my disc stuff grew like no other. It loved it. The no-till stuff was a fail. So around a month after planting, we actually ended up having a couple families of geese pretty much completely destroy 2 sections of the HD screen. On July 9th, I replanted those 2 sections and also took it upon myself to get a couple rolls of caution tape, some fence posts that we already had laying around, and I fenced in the whole entire food plot, the east side, which is where all the deer come from. I did 2 rows of 3 strands, and I spaced them out about 2 to 2.5 feet apart. I've heard and read that deer have depth perception issues, and that's kind of what I was trying to do. It kept the deer out a little bit, but most importantly, it kept the geese out from eating the food plot screen, and the deer really didn't touch it all that much, so I wasn't too worried about deer getting in there, mostly just the geese. But in my opinion, it worked. If you're looking for a somewhat cheap way to fence stuff in and try to keep stuff out, I mean, it kind of worked. So do what you want, but I will definitely probably be doing it again. So after replanting the HD screen on July 9th, I went back on July 14th and sprayed glyphosate one more time just to get that final kill before planting in late July. So after getting the final kill on July 14th, I pretty much had a couple weeks to sit around and observe and prepare myself for the fall planting. And that happened on July 25th. The blend I used was Northwoods Whitetails Green Forage Blend. I seeded that at 80 pounds. They say 100 pounds an acre. My food plot's only about 0.65, so I overseeded it by a decent amount, I'd say. I also threw in the red clover and the radish that John recommends. The red clover at 6 pounds and the radish at 3.5. By August 2nd, I believe that's what, like 7 days? We already had germination. It was kind of giving that carpet look. It wasn't quite there yet. You could definitely tell that some spots were a little thinner than others and they weren't as quick to germinate. But I'd say a week after planting, it was looking pretty dang good. By September 5th, I took all the caution tape fence down and overseeded the 100 pounds of rye that John calls for or recommends also. He says 100 pounds to an acre, and I did all 100 pounds. I overseeded rye quite a bit in hopes that the weed issue this year and this spring was going to be less, and quite frankly, I think that's exactly what happened. We've got red clover and volunteer white clover from just before, and some of the rye coming up pretty dang good right now. It's pretty lush and full, so I have absolutely no complaints, and I'm super content with what it's looking like right now. And other than that, that was pretty much the whole food plot process of last year, 2025. I guess I can talk about what the fall looked like with the food plot. Pretty much starting out, I was having deer in there all year long. We started getting buck pictures, I think sometime September, early September, mid-September. And obviously as time went on, more deer started showing up, more bucks started showing up. November 14th, shot my buck out of here. I didn't shoot him on the food plot. I shot him down by the river where I usually have all of my success. I only hunted the food plot one time. We kind of have a tricky little property and situation here that makes the hunting difficult, and you kind of have to stay out of here until the rut kicks off, like a lot of small parcels. So that's exactly what I did. I spent October out on state land, and yeah, once the rut kicked in, I pretty much started picking and choosing days that I decided to hunt out here. We kind of need the worst wind for Michigan. The wind that I need here is a south wind or an east wind, which are super, super rare for the most part. Definitely an east wind is rare. It's a tricky little situation to hunt out here, which is why I stay out until the rut's really kicking off and bucks are on their feet, coming and going. But November 14th, I connected with a buck with my bow. It ended up being a buck that we had trail camera pictures of out here. He was in here quite a bit from September up until the day that I killed him, which if you haven't seen that video, I'll pop it up right here so you can go watch that if you want to. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole food plot process. I didn't kill the buck on the food plot, which I'm not really too worried about. I pretty much grow it so the does have somewhere to come and the bucks have somewhere to find the does. And in my opinion, that's exactly what happened. So I guess as you go on after that, you turn into opening day, which was the day after I shot my buck, and then you got gun season, muzzleloader season, late bow season, whatever, and then you get snow on the ground and your postseason, everything else. And I had deer in there eating stuff, digging through snow up until I would say February is kind of when it slowed down. And then once the snow melt and the clover and rye started greening up, we've had deer in there pretty much every night. 5 deer, at least 5 to 15 deer almost every night. So it's been awesome. That kind of leads us up until now where we are. Like I said, it's May 9th. Disced the food plot, or disced the HD screen today. Yesterday got the tractor over here and the disc hooked up. Made a couple passes yesterday afternoon, and unfortunately lost one of the pins for the 3-point, so went and bought some more of those. We're back again today. It's about 10:45 right now, and yeah, we're gonna try and disc the rest of the HD whitetails food plot screen, or excuse me, the Northwoods whitetail HD screen. So yeah, just gonna drop this disc down a little bit more and get to it. Okay. guys, that's a wrap. We got everything dissed. Drug it with the drag over there. We got a lot of sorghum left over. What do you want to call it? Sorghum mulch. But my plan is to obviously get it dissed today. We're gonna wait a couple weeks. If we get some green up, then I'll spray it with glyphosate. Probably gonna disc it again before I plant, which should be in early June. And yeah, this should get disked at least 1 or 2 more times, I'd say, and sprayed maybe once or twice, and then some simazine at planting. So yeah, I'm a little late on this first disc of the year, but it is what it is. I think I really didn't have that much weed competition so far this spring, but obviously discing it might change things a little bit and have some weeds pop up. But I'm prepared to spray, prepared to disc again, and yeah, hopefully we don't have too big of problems this year. Last year was kind of a headache, especially for my first time ever planting anything. But yeah, I'd say so far everything's looking pretty dang good. Obviously the clover looks phenomenal, but yeah, probably gonna get everything back inside and enjoy the rest of my day. Hopefully you guys can do the same. It's Saturday, so hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend, and thanks for watching. Now we're just kind of hanging out and waiting to plant the HD screen and switchgrass this year. Obviously that's new. I didn't plant that last year. I'm looking forward to getting switchgrass and the HD screen planted and germinating and coming up, because I need to get that stuff hidden from the neighbors and everybody else again. It's just wide open right now since it's cut and dissed and everything else. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting the HD screen planted and everything else that comes with the food plot process. So that's probably gonna be it for right now. I mean, I might run a couple more pictures and videos that I wasn't able to throw in there, just so you guys can really get the whole idea of what it all looked like. But yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it for this video. I'm gonna try and keep all these food plot videos as short as possible. But again, I just wanted to share what I'm doing and how everything's turning out. I really think planting stuff and getting it to grow is one of the coolest things I've ever done. I had a lot of fun last year. The joy I got from it all was like something I've never done or experienced before. I really like things with a challenge. I like things that you can't be perfect at. And yeah, I just think it's super cool, and I'm glad that I'm able to share it with you guys, whether it's a big fail or whether it's a success. This year I plan on having the camera with you guys, or with me, to share with you guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to getting out the next video. The next one should be planting, I would say, spraying and planting leading up to the HD screen and switchgrass going into the ground. So again, I appreciate you guys for watching, and until next time.